How are you now? It's Casual Talking Head for smallcaps.com.au. James Whelan. You are joined here for, what are we doing? What is it? What do we do, Heath? Again?
Theory
What
of
do we
Thing
call this
Investment
thing?
Podcast.
The Theory of Thing Investment Podcast, brought to you by smallcaps.com.au and Nescafe Blend 43. That's right.
Blend 43.
You get to 43, you stop trying. Hey, boys, put your cups down. I found it. 43. That's it. Write this down. Smell that. You think your job's bad? Hey? Try being that guy who had that job. He had to go through 42 before he got to the 43rd flavour. Imagine that.
I cannot stomach that instant coffee stuff anymore. I'm a bit of a coffee snob.
Put
But I
your cups
lived
down.
through uni on it. But maybe that's why I got so sick of it, downing it. All those late nights, all-nighters, getting assignments and cramming for exams on
Good
Blend
days,
43. Actually, no, in my house, we weren't lucky enough to have Blend 43. We only had International Roast.
International roast.
International roast.
Isn't that fancier? Is that not fancier?
No.
Is that lower down the scale?
It is the worst. It is the worst of the worst in terms of instant coffee. I don't even know if they sell it anymore. They probably banned it because of some of the chemicals in it.
They do have international roast. I'm sure that they do. I think that international roast would have been the stuff that my first job working for the old man at his engineering company.
Yeah.
When I was building liquid resistant starters for the Set Eels mining project. This is the first gig that I had.
Yeah.
With big metal containers and to start a massive engine.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
Yep.
I think I was on the roast.
Yep.
I think I was definitely on the roast. I would come in, and because that was some early starts working that, because down in the manufacturing side, as an electrical fitter that I was, they had some early starts, right? And I would be a late night sort of guy, especially after Wednesday night pool comp at the RSL. Couple of Carlton drafts, get myself some sleep, up at 5, something like that, realizing I need to just have spoonfuls of literal just coffee into my mouth. That'll sort you right out, right?
What we could do when we were young.
And a deck of Marlboro Lights, the old original ones, the Marlboros that I'd have one of them, sit on a milk crate and just have one of those coffees, and just that'll be my first break before I actually got my head in the game. And then life sort of seems a little bit better. Solves a lot of problems with Marlboro. a couple of Marlboros on a milk crate and a good hot cup of just straight black disaster. It's we built this country with that, mate.
It is. I reckon the Australian white collar business network would fall over if the coffee trade stopped. I think we'd be done.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
Yeah. Mate, how are you now? You good?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Got a bit of a cough, but that's about it.
There's always just some sort of sickness going on at your. It's like the freaking play. Your Project Zero, whatever it is you call it. Okay, you're Ground Zero at the Moss household in Adelaide.
I dread the kids coming home and them having a sniffle or something like that, because I just know it's just going to rip through the household, and you don't get too many weeks a year where there's not something going around.
I think that if we get AI to go back over our weekly and fortnightly chats, it's going to say that 90% of the time there's going to be some sort of sickness going on in the Moss household. Right? Those kids, whatever they're going to build up some sort of immunity. I mean, they're going to be the toughest little mothers, mate, that you've ever seen. These kids, once they get through puberty, and they're just going to be strong as hell.
I think you've forgotten what it was like to have very young kids and how sick, all the stuff.
It was a continual stream of just, and it was like. Yep. And do they test the color? The color of the snot.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's green,
it's bad.
Keep it home. Yeah, I forgot all about that stuff.
Yeah.
Although we got girls in private school, in high school, both of them, and at the price that they're paying, their mother is very much you don't get a sick day, girls. I'm sorry. I don't care what's going on. You go to school and you will maximize the cost benefit analysis that the wife has done is. You don't get any sick days, girls. I'm sorry. And we both need you to get a job as soon as you can.
Exactly.
In this economy. Well, unfortunately, the RBA raised by 25 basis points. I thought I did get it wrong. I'll put my hand out there and say that was it. And then the government has come through this week. And so,
they've ripped
I don't even know where to start with this, man.
They've ripped the heart out of the property investment community. That's what they've done. Because I don't understand the reason they've given it is to help younger people get into the housing market and to claw back. To me it's just a tax grab. It is it's 100% a tax grab I cannot see how this benefits the investment community overall.
I can't see how it benefits actually people getting into the housing market. I don't think anyone else
Not
can
me
see that
neither.
either.
No,
What's the
me either.
That was the
I,
point
I
of this whole thing.
exactly.
If I'd say, I would happily burn the investment community down. I don't like them anyway, and they know how I feel about the investment community. Myself being part of that community, but I'd burn the whole thing down if it meant that young people could have much easier access to be able to own their own home. Economies of social networks, everything is based on people having their own house, filling it with stuff. It is the theory of stuff. I've made this very clear, and I don't think this helps.
For as tough as it is, and I'm not saying it's not tough to buy your own home, and it's getting tougher, and the ways we fund it is culturally changing. Like obviously, inheritance being a big part of that now. Kids getting an inheritance early, or helping them out. I've got no problems with that. It's part of a cultural and societal shift because things change. But remarkably, in Australia, I mean, the percentage of people owning a home hasn't really changed in 60 years. I mean, in 1961, it was 70% of Australians owned their home or had a mortgage on a home. It's now 68%. I mean, so for all the troubles we seem to have, we seem to be able to get through it and muddle through it, if you know what I mean.
That's
So
Fisher.
But I mean,
early funds management. What is the name?
my
Emma
fear,
Fisher?
my biggest fear with this is prospective housing investors now look at this and go, okay, the one major benefit for me to invest in a new property or invest in housing and potentially increasing supply, etc., is negative gearing, is being able to offset that with my income and happy days. Now the asset becomes very similar to, everything else, like commercial property, industrial property, shares, bonds. Why wouldn't you just go to another investment class now? I mean, if there's nothing drawing you to invest in property, so that's going to take in funds away from the property sector, which is going to make it tough to increase supply, which is going to keep house prices up and young people out of the market. I mean,
Well,
I don't understand it.
I don't understand. I think negative gearing is weird to me, but that's just always the way that it's been. It's like, no, we have to lose money on this place for various reasons. I find that breaks my brain a little bit, just from someone who tries to make people money for a living.
I think
really hard.
It's not they have to. It's just that the numbers, the maths don't add up with most properties. Very few properties are positively geared, and that's because house prices are so high, and the rental income you get it from is so low. I mean, how are you going to positively gear that?
There was a time, and for other reasons, but it did come into our factor in the first apartment that we actually, because I didn't realize we owned our apartment in Northbridge, and then I bought, what did I buy in Forestville, and then I bought up the road, and someone said, just keep the apartment, and then you can negatively gear it, and it was years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. Okay, and that was the first time that I really got into it and really learned about it. So it's great. And then eventually it had to factor up to it because we could raise the rent, and we kept on raising the rent so much that it actually became positively geared. There was no and then that actually became a disadvantage to us, and we ended up selling it.
Yeah. Now there's a positive. Sorry, there was a period before the COVID when rates were extremely low that the positively geared property thematic was coming back because rates were lower, repayments were lower, etc., etc. But because rates are so high now and probably going to stay, that way for 18 months at least, it's a pipe dream. So yeah, I don't understand.
Well, fortunately, so rates being so high that I've had to sell any investment that I possibly have. So take that, Chalmers. You can't get my investments if I don't have any. Ha! Checkmate, man.
Yeah, no capital gains from me, Chalmers.
Up here thinking, mate. You can't get me, Chalmers. I don't have any investments.
But yeah,
I'm going to start a rumor. Here we go. Look at this.
You're going to start a rumor.
There you go. Get a good look at that.
What's that hat? Mick Morrison, ScoMo.
You're at Morrison Securities, right here on the head.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yep. No comment.
No comment? All right.
No
beautiful.
comment. No comment. Okay. So, so apart from that, Chalmers, Angus Taylor gave his budget reply speech last night. I found it, the indexing the tax brackets, indexing the brackets to CPI, great idea. Everything should be indexed to CPI. It's an insane thing. I saw a great example last night about Austrac when they first brought in, it was last week whenever I read it, talking about An example being $10,000 transactions has to be reported to AUSTRAC for AML, as we know, right? Anti-money laundering. $10,000 isn't it? $10,000 is now like nothing. Plumber comes in and works for more than 3 days. That's a $10,000 transaction. You really think AUSTRAC wants to see that every single thing that goes through? Everything, all of these things should be the $250,000 sophisticated person test for income.
Yes.
It's like you've been in the industry for 5 years. You don't know what's going on. You're going to be making 250 grand for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Should you be a sophisticated investor for that? No.
No.
You're a fucking idiot. Anyway, It's some of my best clients. No, but you know what I mean, right?
It does help me out a little bit though. So with the amount
I'm not getting in the way.
advice we have to give,
I'm not getting in the way. It is nice. The sophisticated person, but I would like to do it for actual, real sophisticated investors. However, $250,000 is not that much for
it's not.
If you're just because you're a dentist doesn't mean that you know anything about investing. It's an insane.
It was 20 years ago, but now it's not.
It should be a bigger number. If you want to say, look, this person actually knows how to deal with wealth, they know a lot of sort of thing like that. You want to base it on that, go. Okay, that's fine. So yes, Angus. However, I did find he flubbed a lot of the lines. He missed a lot of the main emphasis he wanted to do because the media monster then drags this, gets the sound bites the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
That was his chance to be on the sound bites, and he failed at every single step. I found that there was a time, I did watch him just like trying to see the way that he tried to build up. He got angry like once about a thing, and it was just out of nowhere. Like you could see there was probably something written on the script, on his speech saying, okay, now build up to be angry. And then all of a sudden, it's just like,
exactly. Yeah, he's got 2 years to get himself in order because I think by May 28. But I think it could be a turning point for Labor in terms of their popularity and dominance. I mean, we saw their popular vote came down in the last election from the other one. It's only because of the Greens, etc. They have so much power. But it could be a turning point. I think they fumbled it here. They all they had to do was keep the status quo, and they would have got a third term because Liberals aren't, like you said, providing much. But I think a lot of Australians, they've peed off the boomers, they've peed off their kids because inheritance is now less. Young males are voting for One Nation. And so you got, professional females and young females. Is that enough to get them across the line? Apart from the traditional left wing voters who will be there no matter what. So
swingers.
I think they've fumbled it big time here, and they could have cost themselves a third term because I don't think Australians are going to take well to this, especially being lied to straight to their face, coming out and saying
the pearl clutching,
we're not going to touch them.
This is not the first.
We're not going to touch it.
And I got the old man on the phone here.
Politicians lie. There's no doubt about it. But running a campaign on it and getting voted on the back of it, that's a little bit different. And saying that you weren't going to touch CGC or negative gearing, and then to come out and say our position's changed. It's like, where was this 12 months ago,
Correct.
Yeah, that's where I think Australians will have most problems with. Not the fact that the lie, it's the fact they being deceived, I think is more the point rather than being lied to. So, I think we're going to see some ramifications there.
So, yeah. Okay, so... yeah, for sure. Yes, we will. That's going to wait on the polling, although we just need the opposition to actually provide some opposition. That's true. Other big highlight this week before we cross over for your market wrap was my Tungsten webinar yesterday, Tungsten 26. It went okay.
It did.
People spoke well. A couple little tech glitches, but you get that on the big jobs, mate. That's what happens when we're building a business. So we're doing this sort of thing. Welcome to the Small Caps Research Portal, where I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listed companies that spoke yesterday: Viking Metals, Viking Mines, Sky Metals, Resolution, Flynn Gold, and anchoring with Ryan from EQ Resources. Some really good chat out of all of them. They're tungsten holdings. You really get to know the tungsten grades up and down, and they all did speak to their bits and pieces. Flynn Gold, have a good look at Flynn Gold for generally everything. It's got a lot of Tasmanian good stuff going on down there.
Yeah, and Tasmania, as long as they maintain a Liberal government, which I think they've still got, I think, they should be more open to mining down there because they've traditionally been very anti-mining. But it should be okay down there.
So Viking Mines is the research that I've just clicked on there, and you can see that VKA. I'm very keen on Viking Mines, which is great. Well, I've got the hat. Here you go. Wear the Viking Mines hat. This is unpaid, obviously. With a market cap of $29 million, we've got a target on them of 5.7 cents.
Fantastic.
It's currently 1.2 cents. Definitely undervalued here for a pure play Nevada tungsten play. It's my of the week.
It's your pick of the week. Beautiful.
95% upside. That's generous, isn't it?
Can't
yeah. So
can't knock
a
that
Nevada
back.
pure play. They've got six sites out in Nevada, and Nevada's such a great place to do business. Why would you go anywhere else? Julian is a fine and competent leader, and so I think it's just like critical in the US. Say no more. I'm good with that. They've definitely got some stuff out there, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But that's my pick of the week. Viking
Yep.
Mines, get amongst it.
I
This has been an unpaid spookery from James Peter Whelan.
I had the webinar going for, what is it? I think most of it. I was in and out because I was dealing with clients. Sky Metals, I think they impressed me the most. I think they're a little bit higher.
Sky is good.
Yeah, they got a
Ollie's
higher
good,
market cap. I think it's around 200 mil, but they've got like the really good land, the tungsten and the tin, where it used to be the tin and the tungsten. That comment I think he made about tungsten was going to be 10% of revenues is now going to be
now
100% of what it was.
Of revenues.
Yeah, is exciting.
So I snorted my coffee on that. He's gone.
Yeah.
That's what tungsten. And the joke that I've got, if you move that thing from, that was on page 7 of your presentation a few months ago, mate. And now suddenly it goes to page 2 or 3, doesn't it? Oh yeah, look at all this tungsten that we've got. This is because it's got 500% in a couple of weeks. Right? Yeah.
I think have they got silver as well? I think it might be silver. I can't remember.
They got silver.
Really good management as well. Been there, done that. I think so. There's some Genesis Minerals guys in there as well.
Let me just yank up some Sky Metals, see what we can pull up here.
Yeah. So I was really impressed with them, and I'd say they're my pick. I think they're about 25 cents. I think at the moment.
Hang on, hold please.
Bring them up.
Someone will be right with you. So there's Sky. Let's pull this up and see what we got here. Sky Metals.
Yep.
24.
24.
24. Last price.
You guys got a hold on them. Bloody hell,
mate! It's fair value here. According to this, $208 million market cap, pre-revenue New South Wales focus. But how good is look at that? You can go bang. Here's the research. It's great. And the best part is that what was the best part? Anytime that one of these companies updates the market with something official, this will update the next day. So it's effectively always live through that link. You don't need no analyst going in and having to redo and reassess and read whatever. Okay. Research is always fresh. Smallcaps.com.au research portal. The fresh food people. The real fresh food people.
I think
the fresh research people. I'm going to get sued for that.
I'll just ignore it. I think Morgan's upgraded their top price target on Sky's 35 cents this week, I think. So yeah, looking good. Okay. But well, they impressed me most. They're my pick.
Ollie is such a calm, soft-spoken gentleman as well that I actually like. I like people talking about their company and not being, the spooky sort of. Trust me, all that time that I spent. The company starts with W. All that time the eye twitch that I've got of having to front up for them for 2 years straight. Bit too spooky. I like managers that are just good. Here's what we've got. And just not being too overly yada yada.
Yeah, you got to find that balance. Someone that
there's a balance.
Yeah, you got to find someone that it doesn't just sit back and say nothing, which a lot of these spec mining companies do. And versus someone who's in your face all the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
All
so
right. Over to you now, mate.
Beautiful. All right, I'll share my screen.
And now here we are, Heath Moss with the Market Report, brought to you by Sick Kids Everywhere. Heath Moss, HLM Investments, funding your sick kids' future. Okay.
What do we got here? We got just a rip snorting chart of the S&P 500. Since the end of March, it has been vertical. There's not much else you need to say about that. It's all been on the back of earnings, Q1 earnings, continue to be strong. I think the Mag 7, or is it the Big 10 top stocks that generally get spoken about now, I think their earnings were up like 40% or something along those lines. It was ridiculous. Blended earnings for the whole 500 is about 13%. So even though the big guys are doing really, really well, everything behind it are doing well still as well. So it's really a really good bullish picture for the US markets. We've still got Nvidia to come on Thursday morning our time.
Nice.
Sorry, just had to cough there. Yeah, had Nvidia. We got Nvidia to come next Thursday morning our time. Now it was announced this morning that they've got permission to start selling some more chips into China again.
The H200, the old
Yes.
H200s.
I know.
Yep.
It's only 2 or 3 years old tech. So I mean, why not? Why not send them into China? So
Now China just stop pretending that they weren't actually able to get them in the first place.
they were able to get them, but it was short supply. There was a squeeze because obviously everyone else wants them as well. So if you're Nvidia, you're just going to sell them to your mates as quickly as you can and satisfy your Microsofts and Googles and stuff like that.
Good.
Yeah, they report next week. I think after they report, we may see some weakness in the market after that, because then the market Q1 earnings are done, the big tech guys are out the way. Market will start to focus more on the Iran war and conflict and oil prices and consequences of that again. So, and the fact that we've just ripped, so we're over 7,500 now. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, even before the Iran war, we're at 7,000. So we've almost 10% above that. I'm just wary of that period. I think a month or so, unless next week we because Trump did say that Xi had offered his assistance with Iran. So unless we get some sort of resolution next week or the week after with Iran or the Strait, I mean, don't necessarily need resolution with Iran. We just need the Strait open.
You know what would open the Strait? Getting in a time machine and going back and not. Anyway, go on. Sorry. All right. We're pressed for time, Heath. I'm going to stop cutting in.
So
that's
the S&P 500. So that's where I think we'll focus on more the Iran conflict next week after Nvidia's done. Quickly look at NASDAQ is very much the same, just vertical, just vertical. It's just ridiculous. Copper has been very much the same. Now, this is mainly on the back of sulfuric acid being so restricted. The copper ore that they dig out of the ground at the mine side they're restricted in how much they can process it. So, because it's obviously used
China has stopped exports.
Yeah, in the leaching process. Again, if the conflict ends and China reopen the export line again, then I think we see copper take a bit of a correction again. But that long-term structural thesis.
There's no way that China. I don't think that China will undo these. There is literally not enough. They need to have that so they can do their own production for their own copper. I don't think that's something that's going to reverse. On this note, while we're here talking about, look at this finger. It's my wife's finger of destiny. We call that. She gets a finger out. She gets a couple of shots. She gets a couple of savvy bees under the belt, and Michelle's finger will come out. And it doesn't matter if you're anywhere nearby. She'll start to tell you how to live your life, which is great. The finger of destiny comes out. She said, "Listen, this is where you're going wrong." Okay. Comes out. Thank you very much to the cheese. I do love her so much. Have a look at Lake Resources, lithium. So we've had the Brazilian thing. The Brazilian mine got shut down on some labor stuff because they actually turned out that they were doing something with the tailings that they weren't supposed to be doing. That was a huge Brazilian lithium setup. I'm not going to go into the details of what that is. But Lake Resources don't use, so they're Argentinian production, pretty sizable company, about $280 million market cap. They don't use the sulfuric acid. So you want to find companies that don't use sulfuric acid for their leaching or for their production process. They've got a different way of doing their lithium magic. Again, not boring you with the details, but so that's why Lake Resources, if you think that lithium is going up because of the EV revolution, which I think that you will, and also because if you've got Brazilian shutdown, so that's dragging more lithium out of the market. And obviously this is the reason why I like Janus Electric so much, because the EV trucks thing, which is fantastic to be able to transport stuff all over the place. Iran isn't going backwards. So the thing that is causing the EV new revolution is also the thing that is causing the fact that you can't produce lithium as easily as you could with the sulfur. So Lake Resources has a different way of doing it without the sulfuric acid leaching
Yes.
process. I think it's I'm not going to be able to remember what it is. Anyway, so that's why Lake is a pretty good pick of the bunch out of the lithiums.
Yeah, they're using DLE, direct lithium
Thank you.
extraction.
Thank you.
From brine, because normally with brines, you pump the lithium into big ponds and let the sun evaporate the water away over 9 to 12 months, and that leaves back around about a 1% lithium solution that you pump in and do the extraction, etc. These guys aren't doing that. They send it through their DLE. They're trying to prove this technology because it's unproven at the moment, but they're sending it through their DLE stuff so it can be instantly done without needing the sun's help through these brines. Because obviously, for the listeners, here in Australia, we mine hard rock lithium mainly through spodumene rocks, which uses sulfuric acid and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Whereas in South America, most of it is done via brines and this evaporation and trying to improve that through extraction. So that's where it differs. Yeah. And you're right with lithium. I think lithium carbonate prices in China, spot prices, $38,000 a ton. I think it is,
that
which
yuan?
is
Are you equating
that's
yuan?
US. Yeah, US dollars. I think it's 260,000 yuan, and you divide that by 7. It's around the $38,000 US ton a mark.
Okay.
So that's a long way from the sub 10,000 we were getting only last year.
All right.
So there's been a big turnaround, and that's because of demand for EVs, but mainly battery storage as well.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm catching up with Stu Crow from Lake on next week as well. So things are ticking over quite well. Yep. So he's a good operator on that one too. So anyway, sorry about moving on.
Last one. We'll make this the last one. Just oil, WTI. Trading around that 100 mark still. I think it slowly keeps on creeping up the longer this conflict stays, keeps going.
I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. At the moment, it's a bit messy. Immediate term, there is still plenty of oil out there to be had, as per the Premier on Brent.
Yeah.
You can get it pretty easily, but in 2 to 3 months' time, that will be a much different story. So, I think this, as long as the strait remains closed, this keeps on creeping up. And of course, if there's an escalation, then 120 very quickly, and higher. So that's oil for me. But that's about it. That's it for markets. And markets go really into a real quiet period after Nvidia next week. It's going to be hard to find things to talk about unless there's stuff with the Iran war.
We'll find stuff to talk about. On that note, happy Magic Round to everyone and everyone that celebrates, if that happens to be your religion. Mate, I'm already none from one after picking the woeful Brisbane Lions. Did they win a flag last year, or did I just dream that? They got beaten and touched up by the Cats.
The Cats were very good last night. Yeah,
the Cats were very good last night.
Yeah.
There is the fellow from the Lions who dropped the ball running in for his set shot. That is an all-timer. He was laughing about that.
It was just
Dunstall
was it? Yeah. It was just weird.
And they're just like, all the slippery conditions out there. It's just like, mate, he's dropped the football on his third step in the run-up. No words, mate.
Yeah.
All right, that's our half hour. You got any good tips for us this weekend, brother?
I wouldn't mind putting a bit of a roughie on the D's to beat Hawthorn. Hawks have got a few injuries.
So sexy.
D's are in very good form. They're sitting 7th and 6 and 3.
They're 7th,
very good form. Yeah, only a win behind Hawthorn. So
they're on the ascendancy.
I think D's could knock them over.
285. That's paying. Where do you get South Australian prices? I got Sydney prices over here. Sydney prices for Sydney people. I've got no tips at all. Magic Round is a wild time. All the games happen at Suncorp. It's a free for all. Just sit back and enjoy the footballing magic. You never know because you never know what's going to happen in Magic Round.
Exactly.
It's a weekend of upsets. Don't blow your money up. Just enjoy the beauty of football at its finest in that state to the north of where I am right now.
Queensland, you mean?
Thank you, mate. Yeah, there's those. Okay, mate. Stay safe and all the best. I hope you have a great weekend.
Will do.
And
You too.
don't forget, so Lake, Viking, get them into your Sky Medals, get them up your watch list. Don't forget to check out the Small Caps Research Portal, as I've been indicating, and love to you and all of your families.
Have a good one, everyone. See you later.
Stay safe and all the best. Thanks, guys.